24-hour business plan.
Welcome back to the 24-hour Business Plan podcast. And one of the things we often get asked about by our clients is what they should be doing from a marketing point of view. Marketing's changing so rapidly. You know, what should we be trying to achieve as part of our plan? And one of the things I often talk about is that the fundamentals of marketing have not changed. You know, how well we position our brand, you know, the 4 Ps of marketing, all of those key elements have not changed over time. But how we execute marketing has changed forever. And we've got so many channels that are available to us. I mean, when I started many, many years ago in the advertising industry, you know, it was really television ads and print ads and cinema ads and radio ads and a few things like that. Now we've just got a multitude of options through social media, digital channels, and all of the things that come with that. So I think it's important for people to understand that you've really got to get, as part of your business plan, those fundamentals right. But you also need to be then thinking about how can we execute that in today's modern world. The P that comes up the most out of the 4 Ps in our workshops is the promotional pillar. And it's one of the ways we try and chunk that down is to talk about your earned and owned and paid marketing. So from an owned point of view, what we mean by that is which channels do you own yourselves? Now, each of us own our website. We own our credentials or case study documents. We own our emails. We own our social media channels. These are all things that we can control on a daily basis. And so I think it's important to understand, well, okay, if we've done our strategic plan and this is our purpose of our company and here's our vision of our company, well, what's the role of marketing? What do we need to be updating our website to do? What do we need to be updating our email campaigns and our social media channels and our social media calendar to do? So I think that's an important one that we can all get right pretty quickly. The second one is earned. And by that we mean, what marketing can we earn out there? Now that could be, you might go and speak at a conference and someone might write an article up about what you've spoken about. You might write some sort of thought leadership paper or a blog or something that can go up on your website that gets distributed out and gets shared amongst a lot of people. You're earning additional marketing by doing that. And again, doesn't cost you too much other than time to do those things. And then clearly there's paid. There's paid marketing. You could pay to sponsor an event. You could pay to do some performance media, some digital media. You might pay to do some television ads. But that's all sort of paid. And from the paid, you clearly want some sort of return. And one of the great things about marketing nowadays is there's so many, the science around marketing is getting so much stronger in terms of marketing mix modeling to understand exactly what elements of marketing are driving your best result. And as part of that, marketing tends to get pushed into 2 main buckets. One's around your brand and how can we get our brand awareness and understanding out there? How can we get that credibility of our brand? So if someone hears about our brand or we get recommended, then when they jump on the website, all of a sudden, that makes sense. I can clearly understand what they're trying to do, what the positioning of our brand is, and it looks really credible. The other part that's become critical in business, both B2C and B2B, is lead generation. How can we get extra people to come to us? How can we get extra people to come to our website, potentially buy something direct, come to our website, maybe go to a third party that they can buy our product from? And the science nowadays says that you should be spending about 60% of your time trying to build your brand and about 40% of your budgets and time trying to drive leads. Those that drive leads on its own and do that sort of shorter term marketing, it's a bit like a saw. If you can imagine a sawtooth, sawing a tree. If you do lead gen only, the sawtooth will go up and land back at your baseline. It'll go back up when you do a next promotion or lead gen campaign, it'll go back to the baseline. But if you add brand to that over time, the saw almost starts going on an angle. So when it drops down, it just stays a little bit higher and stays a little bit higher again. So it's important to find the right balance between brand and lead generation. What's closely tied to marketing is sales. I mean, at the end of the day, marketing was created to support the sales channel about 50 odd years ago. And the question we most get asked around sales is how do we best drive sales and sales performance? Once a lead comes in, how do we make sure that they're coming in and we're converting them as well as we can? And then how do we optimize those sales channels as we go? And normally most sales organizations, marketing-driven organizations have a really strong funnel where you're starting at the top. You know by doing X with marketing or X with outbound sales, we get X amount of leads. per week, and then we want to convert those leads at 1 in 4 or 1 in 10 or whatever yours might be. And there's normally some metrics around that you need to be thinking about. Well, how much is it costing us to get a lead? How much is it costing us to convert those leads? And for me, over time, the biggest thing we talk about in our workshops with our clients is around the discipline of sales. It really is a very disciplined thing that you need to do. It's the 1%ers that get you over the line. I mean, usually you are in categories that are highly competitive. There's other competitors out there, other products and services that are pretty close to the quality of yours, and it's those little things that'll get you over the line. So we talk about, if you're a B2B organization, have a top 20 wish list of the clients that you would love to have over the next 3 years. And then what can you do over time to nurture those in a meaningful way? There's a great book by Wendy Evans called How to Win Business in 90 Days and Keep It Forever. And she talks about, if you can have 4 meaningful connections with people that you'd love to win their business over time, and a meaningful connection means that, you might invite them to an event, or you might send them an interesting article, or you might have a great cup of coffee with them, or whatever that might be. It needs to be meaningful. You just can't send them, an EDM every week and hope and think that that's meaningful. If you do that over time, you increase your chances of winning that business quite enormously. So it is those little disciplines time after time that you should be thinking about doing. Obviously, from a B2C point of view, when you're dealing directly out there from a sales point of view and people are coming to your website, you want to make sure that you're converting them as quickly as you can. Or if someone, for example, is coming off a website and they're coming into the dealership of a car company, you want to make sure that your sales team is really, really good at converting those sales, because if you're spending a lot of money driving traffic into a store, a dealership, or a website, you'll want to make sure you're converting those as strongly as possible. So these are some of the things that come up all the time when we're talking with our clients. Thanks for listening to the 24-Hour Business Plan Podcast.
24-Hour Business Plan.